What's up? What's up? What's up? Coach Bruce is in the studio. Going to get in and out of the studio as quickly as possible. Had a busy day out filling out applications and looking for jobs. I'm going to tell you, I never haven't had more fun in a dog's age. That's a lie. I hate it. I just want to coach all the time because I really enjoy it. And as much as like I really don't mind working, I actually find a considerable amount of joy in work. But the process of finding a job is there's just so many options. Option overload is definitely a problem. But today I wanted to talk about oversharing. So I was coaching a client this afternoon, and this thing came up because he's working in a situation in which he is having to try to work around his beliefs in order to provide what he feels like is the best service for his clients. And that's obviously a laudable thing. Like I definitely encourage you giving your clients great service. Like that's what I want to do. I want to give my clients great service. But in this conversation, I was I was struck with the thought that, man, it sounds like he's giving these people a lot of information that might be more than they need right now. Um, and this is a topic that's kind of come up with me before, is that for every individual you come in contact with, there is going to be a different level of the appropriate amount of information. Everybody deserves to know who you really are, and you deserve to share your real self with everybody. That is that is a base of the foundation. Like that's that's kind of a an essential. But there are levels to that. You can be completely yourself without giving a stranger your home address. Like there are varying degrees of the amount of information that people need to know. Like think of it like concentric circles around yourself, and there's a space limit for each different person. Like you don't want your supervisor in the space bubble that your spouse would have access to, right? The same thing exists for sharing yourself and the things that go on in your mind, and the what's important to you and what your dreams and goals are. Because if you share those things that are really deep and close to you with people who are outside of the first couple of circles of influence, you don't know what they're going to do with that information. And I heard a quote the other day. It's like, be careful who you share your nightmares with, but be even more careful with who you share your dreams with. Because the people, and I've experienced this personally, when I was at the fire department, I talked about things that I was excited about, and they got shit on. They made me feel bad about the things that I dreamed of and that I got excited about. And I'm not going to say that was my fault. I was dealing with some crappy people, but I knew that they were crappy. I knew that they didn't have my best interest at heart. So why did I share that with them? Why did I make the decision to give them that power by allowing them to have that information? So I think it's really important to, for one, figure out what's important to you. And once you know what's important to you, keep that close. Like, no, this is something that's important to my heart. Like, it's going to, if it's my religion, if it's my career, if it's my children, like whatever, know that that thing's important to you. Like, be aware of that. So when you are sharing information about yourself, you want to give people the information they need to operate in a authentic way, both you with them and them with you. Um, in a co-working situation, they probably need to know that you have a family and what your family is comprised of. It is just uh, general etiquette to share like just general details of your family. They don't need to know all of your struggles. But if there are struggles that are going to affect the way that you work with them, that's where I start to differ from like kind of the social norm of like kind of just putting on a brave face and just bearing it. I think that that's whenever it's time to, sharing a little deeper. When you have a work team or a work partner or a supervisor who's going to be affected by something that is happening outside of your work, then it is time to bring them into that thing so they understand why your behavior is different, why you're, being late consistently, why whatever's happening in your life, why those things are happening. You need to be proactive in sharing that information so it's not a punishment, it's just an alert. Those things become punitive whenever you don't alert people that they're going to be an issue. Most supervisors want to be able to prepare for things. That's part of being a supervisor, is being able to prepare both your team and the schedule for your team's shortfallings. And if you give them the information, you give them enough time, you give them um, things to be careful of, then they're going to be prepared for it. I mean, at least a good supervisor will. And if you just let that thing surprise them, they're going to be pissed off because they weren't prepared for it. They don't like being surprised. Supervisors really don't like being surprised by things that are going to upset the apple cart. So you can, prevent a problem downstream by going upstream and saying, like, hey, this is something that may never affect you, but I just wanted you to know. I had a car accident last week. We still have a working car, but I'm having to share a car with my wife until the other one gets fixed. So whenever you call, 2 weeks later and the wife took the kids to daycare and got stuck in traffic and you can't get to work on time, you're going to be able to say, hey, remember I told you that this may be a problem, but it may not. This happened. And, we still only have the one car. She should be back within 30 minutes and I'll get there as soon as possible. What would have been a write up for not calling, for being late, for not giving the information is now, okay, all right, I'll have so and so cover your station for, those 30 minutes, or I'll make an allowance this time because you let me know about the possibility. There are lots of different ways to work around it if you are giving the correct information to the people. But it's important to, once again, all this stuff is all about knowing what's important to you. If you don't know what's important to you, it is really hard to decide what information do you keep for yourself. That's how you end up being this insulated person who doesn't share anything with anybody because you can't trust yourself to share the correct things. You just end up either holding it all in and telling nobody, no, not telling anybody anything until you just completely trauma dump on somebody and give them all the information, which, there are going to be people in your lives who want that. Like, I'm a person who loves to get into the deep emotional stuff that's going on with people. I want to offer, any insights I can, or any assistance that I can, or just be a shoulder to cry on, or a listening ear. I want to be those things for people. That's why I'm a coach. But there are times whenever, if I walk into a grocery store and I'm just trying to get some shopping done and I see a person I've met one time, I do not want to hear everything that's going on with them, you know, in all of their emotional disarray. I just came to get some oranges from the grocery store. Like, let me get in and get out. This is not the time, nor am I the person, or is it the place? This is all wrong. So it's being aware of what needs to be shared, when is a good time to share it, who is it going to be shared with. A lot of those things are moving parts that you have to like really know yourself to be able to answer those questions. So yeah, that's the answer. Do the work, know yourself, know what's important to you, know what matters to you so you can make decisions that matter. Those are, they're starting to sound cliche because it all ties back into the same thing for me. All of my coaching ties back into, have you done the work to prepare for your emotional lows and your emotional highs? Like, have you laid the standard of how you want to operate always? If you haven't done that work, let's get to work. Let's do it, because those are easy things. They're simple things. They're not necessarily easy. They can be a little bit of difficult work. They can be kind of arduous if you are ADHD and you struggle with doing a little bit of writing. But that little bit of work, like upstream, is going to save you so many problems downstream. It is going to make your life so much easier when the stress happens. So if you're looking to do that, once again, check out the How to Life workbook. It is available. The link is in my bio. The link is in the description of this video or another video. whatever. I've been talking about it for quite some time yet, and you haven't got it, and you should, because it is really a life changing tool that can make a huge amount of difference for you. So I encourage you to get it because it helps you go step by step through the process to create your life instruction manual and have that solid set of evidence that gives you the foundation you need whenever your depression or your anxiety or your ADHD starts to lie to you and starts to tell your brain that things, or your brain starts to tell you that things aren't okay and that you're not going to, do X, Y, and Z. You have hard evidence to prove the opposite. And is it going to make you not depressed? No. Is it going to make you not anxious? No. Is it going to make you not ADHD? No. But is it going to allow you to keep from spinning out if you are able to ground back in the foundation that you have? Yeah, it's going to make it a lot better. It's going to minimize the damage. It's going to mitigate the length and the intensity of that feeling. And to me, that is a major win. Like, spinning out is not a feeling that I've enjoyed in the past. And I don't think most people do. So having something that I can grab onto that gives me a moment to get my legs back under me, to get regrounded, to have something that reminds me what I'm working towards, to either pull myself out of the depression or the anxiety or to refocus, it helps me with all those things. And I encourage you to do the same. That is it for today. Until tomorrow, be yourself, love yourself, go get your How to Life workbook right now. You are missing out if you aren't doing it, because it will literally help you with all of your ADHD, anxiety, and depression um, inconsistencies. You'll stop riding the wave and start having some steady